You want to see something really scary?
You bet.
Tear your soul apart.
Jesus Christ!
No, it's not.
Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
So, in between Screams 4 and 5, the legacy of it, there was always like something happened in between. Well, there was a very odd happenstance that happened. A TV series popped up out of it.
It ends with you.
Scream.
Yeah.
I binged all 3 seasons of the show, just to make sure we were ready for this. I will tell you now, the first 2 seasons, I don't know why it was called Scream.
On one hand, it's a new place, a new killer. I was happy because, at this point, I was like, okay, our legacy characters, leave them alone. Let them go live their lives. They have their arcs. We're done. Let's do something new. But they couldn't even tie it into the same universe. I mean, it could be, but they never mentioned Stab. They never mentioned any of this stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, if this had taken place in the world of Scream, like Stab is a thing.
Yeah.
I would have been totally good with it. Honestly, that would have been fine. Kind of like how the Friday the 13th TV series still made acknowledgement that this is the world that Jason Voorhees lives in.
Yeah.
It's just a world where a lot of other paranormal shit happens too. It would have been nice if they would say that, no, this is the world where all the things in Woodsboro happened. Because they're calling itself Scream, I feel like they're saddling it with something they don't have to, because the story they're telling could work on its own terms.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only real link is the fact that the killer messes with them by calling them. And so it has that vibe, but I mean, they could have done more to make it in the aesthetic of the worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the Randy character. We had, what's his name? Oh, shoot.
Noah.
Noah, the best character. So we had these tropes. I just wish it had been slightly more meta, where it recognized that, and that we were in this world where Stab exists. I liked it. Overall, I did not like the first season. I remember I watched it just because it's Scream. And then when the second season came out, I had no interest. I was like, well, I already saw it. I guess I had guessed the killer almost immediately in season 1.
You want to know something funny? I guessed the killer of the second season when I was trying to guess the killer of the first season.
Yeah, I think they kind of did that on purpose. They kind of just set him up.
I laughed so damn hard.
They made him so obvious in the first season. And then he was the red herring. So I think at that point, you're supposed to be like, okay, well, we already know it's not him. And then it is.
Was not crazy about the reveal of the first season, principally because and again, even though I say plot holes aren't a thing, this is one thing where in order for this to be a thing, you have to ignore something major that usually tends to need to happen. Mm-hmm. Specifically, when obviously the major thing is the fact that this person was put up for adoption. But everyone was making it out like the killer was a guy. And I was like, I know I'm giving it away here, but when a mother puts a child up for the adoption, they're still going to know the gender of the child when they're putting him up for adoption.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. That would level the playing field of who the killer is just by knowing, because they make it they know that the killer was put up for adoption, like almost at the beginning. So one of the major things is like, what gender was the child? Yeah. And as it turned, and because that honestly would have been the major, because there wasn't in the first season, there wasn't as many female suspects as there were male suspects. Totally. In that first season.
I think the only person who really knew the gender of the baby, being the mom, she wasn't on that page that it's my child. She was really still stuck in that it's Brandon James. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe if she had been working with Noah and them from the beginning, and they were actually sharing notes rather than hiding things from each other, maybe that could have come out sooner. But I don't think she was like on the page of the child, whereas the kids started, especially Emma, because that's what the
Yeah.
comic is about. We're talking
Oh
about.
man, Emma frustrated the hell out of me. She was the anti-Sydney to me. She made so many dumbass mistakes in that. And actually, I think my major problem with even though like I said, Sydney season 2 was better. My major problem with the second season is that the characters did not learn their mistakes from the first season. Specifically, don't keep secrets.
Yeah, that's the one, especially Audrey at this point. Like, we already went through the whole thing in the first season that, okay, you're on our team. We trust you. We believe in you.
Yeah.
At that point, that kind of secret, you need to just tell them.
If she had come forward sooner, the killer would have had no game, they would have had no cards to play. Absolutely. As the time went on. And I was like, it drove me crazy because the whole point of making your season stronger, or to show the whole thing to justify a second season is to show characters from their development from the previous season. And again, part of the reason why I go to bat for the finale of Game of Thrones is because I feel all the surviving characters are characters who actually learned from everything that happened prior to it. So, but I feel like in order for season 2 to happen of Scream, they had to jump back and do the same dumbass mistakes. Killed me. I will say one character that consistently surprised me all the way through the first 2 seasons. I love Brooke.
Last night, I handcuffed Branson to a bed, threatened to castrate him with scissors, and then left him trapped in a hotel room.
You went full hard candy on Branson and left him chained to a bed?
Oh gosh, she was great. You definitely thought from the beginning she's going to die immediately. She's supposed to be the big-breasted bimbo who can't act, who's running upstairs when she should be running out the front door. But no, she was so smart. She had so many layers to her.
I loved how when she got up in front of everyone in season 2 and just unloaded on the entire town, I was like, that was to me the equivalent of Starlight in season 1 of The Boys, when she pretty much unloaded on everyone, just pretty much flat out told the truth. I was like, this is so refreshing when characters just step up. Doesn't matter the consequences, they tell the fucking truth. And I adored her. I adored her so much.
She had stakes. Like, she really cared about things. She wasn't just the vapid, popular hot chick. So, like, you know, she was having issues with the guy that she was kind of maybe dating. But when he disappeared, it wasn't just like, oh, one episode, she's really sad and then moves on. That's her whole, that fuels her.
Yeah.
Like,
and then she finds out he's dead.
Yeah.
Which I'll say, that was pretty damn bold that they killed him. Like, he was like the first character to die in that season.
Yeah.
And when the ball drops, they
literally.
For anyone who watched the show knows the third season, they did a complete about face. They probably got a lot of complaints from people that it's not involving Ghostface. It's not, admittedly, the complaint that I just levied here.
It kind of has nothing to do with anything.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, though, we have 2 seasons with these characters, and they're building up to something later on. I was like, I actually do want to see where they go.
I did too. They had a great cliffhanger.
But then they flipped it, and then decided to actually have Ghostface in an episode. And yes, it's fun having Ghostface again. Granted, the third season's only 6 episodes, so it's easy to watch. It's a quick, breezy watch. But I feel like it was too little too late. Much as I do like, you know, the idea that horror is progressing and they have more representation as far as the type of characters they have in the season. Unfortunately, the thing is, though, there is a difference between having that representation and only doing it because that's what the demographics say is the popular thing.
Yeah.
And the way they wrote it in season 3, it felt like the latter. It felt like, you know, everyone wants about representation. And apparently Queen Latifah was an executive producer on the third season.
Oh.
Which, and again, intentions are great. You know, noble intentions are fine. But ultimately, in the end, I was like, I feel like you're going a little too heavy-handed here. I mean, you know, say what you will about Jordan Peele. I mean, while he does hit his themes home pretty damn hard, at least it feels in character with the movies he's telling. It feels right with the movies he's telling.
There's a point. Yeah.
He still has a level of subtlety about it. I mean, I didn't get the point of Us until like maybe the second or third time I watched it. The characters were way more cartoony, way more archetypal. You had the gay one, you had the black activist one, you had the one black kid who came from a troubled home, but who rose to popularity in the high school establishment, but who, of course, is not 100% accepted by his white peers, kind of thing. As much as I admired the intention, I don't feel like the writers were disciplined enough in order to hit the point. Third season of Scream just flat out waved it in your face, like this.
It was like just checking boxes rather than trying to let characters breathe and be. Like, yeah, right now this is totally off topic, but I'm watching Euphoria, and there's great representation, but it doesn't feel like we chose this just because this is who it is. Like, no, the character lives in this world and makes sense. And all these characters work together and it makes sense. It doesn't feel like you're just pushing an agenda to me. So, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and funny enough, I actually feel Scream 5 kind of was able to achieve what third season of Scream was trying to do in the set, because one thing is all about Mindy. Well, here you have Mindy, who's pretty much the Randy figure of the case, but I love, just through very subtle imagery and just the offhanded mention that, oh, I'm just going to hook up with this person over here. Oh, she's LGBTQ. And we didn't even, they just say, and I love how they just say it matter of factly, like this is her. This is just a part of her.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you see her, making out with the girl, but it's never, we're past the point where we have to make that her defining character arc. That, it's like, no, that's just who she is,
that's just a part. Yeah.
She has dark hair and she happens to not be straight. It's like, that's just these things that's just who the person is. It's not what they have to overcome. It's not what they have to learn. That's everything else.
Yeah.
The story, because that stuff doesn't have anything to do with the story. So because it's a part of you, but it's not your defining character trait. Exactly.
That's the great thing about Scream. Scream is always at the forefront of what is happening in cinematic culture at this time. That I feel like this movie did a fantastic job really reflecting where we are right now. And that kind of brings us neatly really to the final point of our epic discussion. The legacy. The legacy of Scream is pretty much cinema at large.
Yep. So, I mean, listen, I was against them making 5 the moment they greenlit it, but I'm very happy they did it. I was pleasantly surprised. So at this point, my wish is I really like the new characters they introduced and the ones who survived. I'm really interested to see where these go. And I hope from now on, it really just focuses on them. I would love it. I feel like Gail and Sydney have had their arc and they're done and they can gracefully leave. I am, one of the biggest Sydney fans in the whole world. I don't need to keep seeing her in order to enjoy it. In fact, I love the idea that she went off and married Detective Kincaid and is raising
They have 2 kids and
and they can be mentioned, maybe a cameo or something so that we know we're still living in this world. We still acknowledge it, but I would really like it. Yeah, let's pass the torch. We are now, which they literally said in the movie,
But I love that it came at the expense of one of the killers too, which enjoy that torch.
So good. The hand sanitizer that makes her just light up immediately. But I want to see the sisters and I want to see the twins and how they move forward. And, now if we know that Kirby Reed is alive, maybe we'll somehow bring her, because she could be like the new sort of legacy character.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to keep beating this dead horse and being mean to characters we love just to get money out of it. So I'm very interested to see and hoping that they, follow that path, go with the new people.
Yeah. And I love that they kept making nods to The Last Jedi because legendarily, Disney so far backpedaled because so many toxic fans were so pissed that Rian Johnson wanted to be bold and take it into a new direction that unfortunately we got the Rise of Skywalker out of it. Scream was able to make the changes so palatable that anyone who's going to bitch about this movie are the people that the movie was calling out flat out. I'm pretty sure anyone who's going to talk shit about this movie and like so much so that they're going to go on freaking paragraphs and paragraphs of rants on Facebook, I'm pretty sure they're the people who are the movie was calling out.
Yep, that makes sense.
Anyone who's going to go on that level of rant, these are the people who are trying to justify their rage.
Yeah, that's the toxic fandom.
If you're trying to justify hate, then you have no justification.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no justification for hate. Flat out. You're hating on something that, and I've said this, I don't think I've ever said this on anything on Casserole, but I'm going to say this. People who make movies and people who go so far as to make like the effort, the time that it takes to make one, they're doing it for probably the worst reason on the face of the planet, our entertainment.
Yeah.
It is probably the unworthiest cause to ever invest so much time and effort in. Given how people act so fucking entitled and the things they do because they feel like they're owed. Look what they did to poor Kelly Marie Tran.
Oh.
You know, what they did to her.
Yeah.
Because they felt like they owned this thing. It's like, you didn't pay $4 billion for this shit.
That's true. That's kind of
yeah.
what he was pointing out.
There are people who some people get horribly injured on the set of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Movies that, you know, people think are not worth a damn because they don't get a decent tomato meter rating.
Yeah. And people injured and die.
Yeah.
I believe, was it Daredevil? There was a
actually Deadpool 2.
Deadpool.
Deadpool 2. A stunt woman died on the set of Deadpool 2. No one remembers it.
No, it's awful. I just happened. I was there. I was in Vancouver at that time, and there was like roads blocked off. So, but yeah, it's pretty crazy.
If there's any reason why I feel like if another one should come out, I feel like it should come out during a time when it has something to say about the culture at that time.
That's true. I unfortunately don't think that's going to happen because right now it's doing so well. They probably want to go ahead and turn this into its own 3-movie arc. Which, you know what? I wouldn't be upset about it if, excuse me, while I become the toxic fan and I own it and I have to tell you how to do it, I wouldn't be upset if they do make the 3-movie arc out of these new characters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very interested. I mean, God, we got a whole tip of the iceberg that Sam has some kind of psychotic break where she's seeing visions of her dead dad interacting with her, which, by the way, so yeah, we may not have legacy characters. You can still bring in Skeet Ulrich to do this. You
got a de-aged Skeet Ulrich.
That you know, the VFX was so bad, but I guess everything else they were doing was so good that I didn't care. But it was kind of hard to.
Not everyone can be Mike Flanagan and find the absolute perfect actors to stand in for legacy actors. The people he got on Dr. Sleep, holy shit. Yeah,
really good. But I want to see what they do with that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it might be a little too cliche if she's going to be the next killer, you know, but I'm almost like, what if we already saw Billy say this? Like, what if she goes down some weird Dexter type path and she's almost the anti-final girl where I mean, because
instead of waiting for them to come, the killers come to her, she comes to the killers.
Yeah. And I loved her killing Richie at the ends when she goes buck wild, and the way that she's stabbing him is exactly the way we saw Ghostface kill 2 people in the movie that exact same way. Because one of my friends was saying, I wonder if they were trying to say that she might be a third killer or something. I said, no, I think the powerful thing of that is that we're not seeing a final girl. We're not witnessing a final girl overcome and survive. We're witnessing the daughter of the serial killer, of the slasher killer. You know, this has nothing. There is really no final girl in this because so many people survived. We're seeing someone who's on Richie's level give it back to him get his. And so I'm really interested to see, what does that mean for her? Is she going to become Skeet? Are they going to do Halloween, you know, the end of Halloween 4? No! They completely decided, oh, never mind, we won't do that in Halloween 5.
There's a part of me even kind of like, I love the Dexter approach would be kind of cool.
Right.
I mean, because I like the idea that they're following on this arc where it's kind of felt like Repo the Genetic Opera, where the moral of it is that you're not bound by your genetics. Your genetics don't define who you are as a human being.
Totally.
I feel like they should complement that arc and continue further, where I liked in that moment, like you said, where she goes ham on Richie at the very end. I feel like it'd be kind of cool that she decides to take that and turn it back on the people who are actually setting out to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a fascinating arc. I mean, I definitely feel like they need to go beyond Woodsboro now. I feel like that's because, like they said, now Stab has become, well, like we said earlier, Stab has become this worldwide thing that took a tragedy and trivialized it and turned it into something that unfortunately has given way to something even worse than Billy and Stu. I guess, going back to what we're talking about with the legacy of Scream, I was like, if they continue it on, they just need to keep riding the course that they're doing.
I like what you said, as long as it is a comment on what is happening in our culture at that time, like make it relevant. Don't just make it to make it.
It has been said is that if you're going to do things commenting on things at a particular age, unfortunately you wind up dating it. But I'm like, no, but that's the point.
Yeah.
Movies are allowed to be time capsules.
Yeah.
And the Scream movies are ideally placed to be time capsules. I mean, we all joke about the first Scream being 90s. Yeah. So 90s. Oh my God, so 90s. But I'm like, yes, but that's the point. I mean, that's a movie that pretty much defined the 90s. And, you can't, anyone is going to go around saying it's dated now. It's like, guys, but the whole point is that this is a movie that defined a particular age. You're now getting a nice window into what it was at that particular time period. And you have a franchise that has evolved with the times, which is more than can be said for practically every other horror franchise out there. Yeah, as much as I love Jason, as much as I love Texas Chainsaw, as much as I love Freddy, none of them have evolved the way Scream has.
It feels like we're doing this because we want to see the icon on screen again. Yeah. And that's really all it is. Whereas I feel Scream, we're bringing back Ghostface, but it's really, we have a point to make about what's going on in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I suppose the reason why we love Ghostface so much, like the icon of Ghostface, it's simple, it's clean, it's immaculate, it's untarnished. I think the reason why we've stuck with Ghostface so long, that's why he's been such a great icon throughout all these movies, is because it's unblemished. I mean, it's that in itself is the thing that has remained timeless throughout all these movies.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, in the end, fear is timeless.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, to retract on a little thing I said earlier, there is one other franchise that has, we'll do another Legacies if you're on it later, Chucky.
Oh, yes.
But that's another episode. In the meantime, I feel like the time is due.
I want to know your top 5 favorite Scream kills that doesn't involve the knife.
Okay. All right. 30 seconds and go. Okay, well, the one off the top of my head obviously has to be the exploding house in Scream 3. Number 2, Tatum with the garage door. Number 3, actually the TV series involving the giant buzzsaw thing cutting into the guy's head. That was pretty wild, actually. No, come on, give me. Shit, no, that one involved it. No, shit. No, that involved knives too. No, come on. 3. I got 3.
I was gonna say, what about TV to the head?
I was so focused on thinking of the killers on the victims. Yep. I wasn't thinking of the other way around. Damn it. I should have thought about that because like all the killers practically died either to bullet to the head or. So we tied.
We did.
We tied. Okay. I haven't thought about what we do in the event of a tiebreaker, so we tied. That's another first here. Yay. So, all right. Well, we definitely got a lot into it, but that's the joy of deep cuts here is that we go deep and we cut nice and juicy and bloody. So thank you so much for taking the time today. I'm really glad we were able to find. Oh, I'm glad we were able to find this much time to talk about it. Personal plug here. What do you got going on?
Right now, I'm not really sure what I have going on. I had the YouTube channel, The Creeptique, which I still have the YouTube channel. I don't have the time right now to do these big elaborate videos, my 5-minute videos. So right now I'm trying to find a way to repurpose it to TikTok to just have sort of fun ways that I review these old slasher movies no one has heard of. So it'll probably still be under the moniker of The Creeptique, just to keep everything simple. So if you're looking for it, look that up. Yeah, so but it's all in the works right now. I'm still haven't quite figured out how to do it. Really, I just haven't figured out how to use TikTok yet.
I couldn't give you pointers. I'm still like feeling it out my own self. I mean, I will say it's definitely way more, the algorithm's definitely way more generous than YouTube. Definitely. But suffice to say, I took to it pretty good. So I think someone with your experience and experience and knowledge, I think it's safe to say you'll definitely take to it a heck of a lot better than me. So for all of you, what did you think of our epic length discussion on the Scream franchise? What did you think of the recent entry in the franchise? Leave it all in the comments below. And in the meantime, while you're doing that, ponder this very simple question: what scares you?